Well, time to check in on the markets at this particular point. Asian markets lower. This is on the back of regulation fears resurfacing. We had the Chinese market regulator issuing draft regulations that are aimed at stopping anti-competition in the internet sector. So as a result, Chinese internet stocks listed in Hong Kong, they dropped, and as a result of that, Hang Seng Index down 1.6%. Chinese shares at this particular point leading the losses, and over in Europe, markets are marginally lower at this particular point, with the auto stocks leading the losses on that particular front. We did get a results announcement from BHP reporting the highest annual profit in a decade. And of course, markets are looking at what is happening with Prosus after HSBC cut their price target for the share. Locally, the rand happened to soften against the dollar. 14.89 is where we are. But to get into all of that, we're joined by Makwe Masilela, who is from Makwe Fund Managers. Makwe, thank you so much for your time. JSE at around 10% this morning. We were firmer, even though our global peers are not doing as well. What's driving the markets on our local end?
Good day to you and to the viewers. The JSE was helped mainly by resources, because if you look at your gold, your silver, your platinum, your palladium, no, they are all up. It's only copper which has been down, and that has been driving our market. But I think it could have been a better push up if our industrials were also performing well. But with the likes of our Nespas down over 4-5% as well, that is pulling us down on that side. And then yes, the likes of good results that we got from Billiton as well is also helping commodity prices, because it's a heavyweight Billiton. I mean, up almost 6%. That also helping our market to go up.
Right, so yesterday we had ABSA publishing their numbers, and a little bit later on we're going to play that interview we had with the financial director of ABSA. However, when you look at the numbers, the CIB business seems to be doing well, but overall they seem to be losing customers. What did you make of ABSA's financials?
I guess when it comes to losing customers was expected, and you know what, down by almost 2-3% is not too bad. But if you look at their profits, I think maybe we need to remember that ABSA was one of the hardest hit bank last year because of COVID. You know, their profits were down around 93%. But yes, for them to increase their profits the way they did, as headline earnings per share over 100%, I think they're doing great. And anyway, the guys started the year on a very good footing, and it seems to be continuing going forward. Yes, we know they had their issues when it comes to the CEO resigning, but generally when you look at their retail and also you look at their wholesome banking, it's not that bad.
So yesterday, Naspers completed their Prosus share swap. What was the market reaction to Naspers and Prosus?
All this, I mean, both Naspers and Prosus ended in a negative 6-4%, and it's not surprising because anyway, most market participants were not too happy with the deal when it was announced. So it was not surprising to see the share price going down that much. And yes, today Prosus is not doing that badly, but Naspers is down over 5%. And all maybe because of what is happening with Tencent. As you said in your intro, that the Chinese authorities have drafted some regulations when it comes to internet and
right, let's talk about those Chinese regulations, because it seems as though the Chinese government... Right. So let's focus on those Chinese regulations, because it seems as though the Chinese government does seem to have a plan for the next 5 years. For somebody looking to invest into China, what should you be keeping in mind right now? Do you take a long-term view?
Definitely long-term view, and make sure that you get to understand their thinking when it comes to policy making going forward. But for me, I think the safe bet is to get invested into companies which do have exposure to China, meaning selling to the Chinese consumers instead of trying to own a company which is Chinese.
Right. Right. So, I mean, let's talk about, global sentiment, investor confidence at this particular point. What do you make of it?
It's kind of shaky, here we are, we just got a wake-up call that yes, the world, there's some risk in the world with the developments when it comes to Afghanistan, and we are not sure what is going to spill over to the likes of Pakistan, or will it unstable Middle East, we don't know. And anyway, remember, we got a comment coming from China hours after all that issue at Afghanistan saying it is ready and willing to have a friendly cooperation with the likes of Afghanistan. I think we need to note here that those guys, they've got minerals which are called rare earth minerals, and the likes of China are good players, dominant players when it comes to that as well. And the Delta variant as well, it continues to show its head as we see new cases going up. And the biggest thing as well continues to be the issue about tapering when it comes to the U.S., whether this afternoon when the U.S. federal chair making that comments or presentation at the City Hall, will they hint anything when it comes to tapering? Or maybe we have to wait for the end of the month when the guys go to the Jackson Hole Symposium.
But I was going to ask you about that. So events that you're going to be keeping an eye on for the rest of the week. I know we've got Walmart, we've got Tencent releasing their numbers as well. Which are you going to be paying attention to, or rather, what will you be looking at on your screen?
More of the developments when it comes to Afghanistan, because yes, we might be downplaying it right now, but it's got the potential, to be one of our biggest issues going forward. And also more important, the issue about the U.S. Federal Reserve not making any monetary policy mistakes, because we tend to have this whole thing that the guys, they've got it right all the time. We forget that there's a possibility that they can misread things and as a result make policy mistakes.
All right, Makwe, thank you so much for your time. That is Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers.